Have you ever had one of those days? Well, middle of January, we got an application from one of our old banks, or those you can transfer money from a credit card that you got to their bank for 0% interest. Okay, well, we have accounts in both banks, so we're like, okay, let's transfer from the one bank to the next. We got on the phone, did all the stuff you need to do the transfer and all that stuff, and it was supposed to go in or they said they sent the money December 31st. Okay, fine. The other bank said it's going to be up to 3 weeks before it'll show on the account. Well, it's been 3 weeks, and we just looked again, and the balance is still on the credit card. But we looked at the other account, and it's showing a balance too. So now all of a sudden, our credit card bill is doubled. So now we got two credit cards, both for the same amount of money. And a month ago, we had one credit card, and now it's two credit cards. And so the amount that says we owe is doubled. So we're like, okay, we called the bank, and they're like, well, that money, we never got the money. We never, we don't, and they searched and did all their searching stuff. I called her this morning, one lady. There's nothing with the money, so we got a hold of the other bank. They gave us this tracking number and said, well, we need to give the tracking number to the other bank, our bank that we were paying off. And they're like, oh, that tracking number isn't working. And we're like, okay. Then they pulled up all the different things, and it's just stinking frustrating. So they're like, well, there was no money. It just didn't go to your account. And if the other bank, it might be waiting in limbo, waiting for you to approve something. And we're like, we never were contacted by either bank and told, it's like you need to approve something or anything. And then when we talked to the other bank, they said it was already accepted by you guys, and you guys are saying you didn't get it. So this lady's like, well, we need to have a 3-way conference call or something, or, because we got to get this figured out, because there's a time limit on, reclaiming. And I'm like, that's at the point where I wanted to start cussing. Like, yeah, there ain't no way, and you know what, am I going to end up paying for twice as much all of a sudden on a damn credit card because you guys screwed up. Of course, you don't want to cuss at the bank because, banks are federally protected and all this other crap, so, all that garbage. So they can screw up all they want, and you're the one who has to go through the damn headache of trying to figure out what the heck they did. So now it's like, oh my gosh. So now we're waiting, and hopefully later today or tomorrow we can get a 3-way conference call so we can figure out where the money went to. Because the one bank said they sent it, and they said they sent it 31st of December, and this other bank said, well, it takes 3 weeks to get it. And then we just called them and said, it's been 3 weeks, it hasn't showed up yet, before they, pass it on and approve it. And then they're like, well, we didn't even get it. But the other bank is showing that they sent it off, so we got a balance now on that credit card. Now we got the same balance on both credit cards. And it's like, that's kind of really can tick you off when all of a sudden you get this other big balance on another credit card and you never got the money. And it's like, what the heck? And then they're telling you, well, there's a time limit on it before you can file for calling it a whatever. It's like, you're the one that did it, you idiots. Stupid banks. So hopefully we get that figured out in the next day or two. So wonder if any of you guys have gone through that with banks. I mean, they act like, when they mess up, we're supposed to figure out what they did. How can the heck, when we go in there and get on their computers and figure out where the heck they did with the money and where they sent it to and whose account? Because like one lady at the other bank said, who was supposed to receive it, said, there's a time limit Otherwise, you can't go back and claim the money back. And it's like, you guys messed up. And we even called on Friday and verified that they had the right account number, and they had the right account number that they were supposed to, the first bank was supposed to deposit it in on the second bank. So, just frustrating. Sometimes you wish you could just smack people in the stinking nose, huh? Yeah. And it's like, it's so annoying when they mess up and when they expect us to figure out what the heck they did. And when we didn't even hear nothing from any of them. Or what they, all we heard was everything went through, and the other bank was like, okay, it's going to take up to 3 weeks. Okay, whatever. We waited. Nothing happened. So, and then they're like, oh, we didn't even receive it. And it's like, so that's between you and the other bank. You can't expect us to all of a sudden have another big giant debt because you guys screwed up. Oh, if you want to know, the first bank is Chase Bank. But that's the same bank that a couple years ago when my kids had savings accounts in there, they actually stole the savings accounts. Yes, literally stole them because they said there was no activity in the last 3 months or something. Actually, this is a couple years ago. And they said with the new regulations that were under our past administration that they were allowed to, if the account hadn't been used in 3 months, no matter what the balance was in there, they were allowed to take it. Luckily, the one of my kids' money was still there in the bank. They had pulled it out, but it was still there. The other one they had pulled out a couple weeks before that, and it was gone. Too bad, or I'm glad it just wasn't very much, but yeah, the government and the banks can steal your money, especially that bank. They're really bad for it. I mean, 3 months no inactivity, so they can take the money that's in the savings account, and then they sit there and say that's a government thing. Wow. Doesn't make you think very highly of the government and the banking laws they got. Anyway, that is my spiel for the day about sucky banks. See y'all later.